Okay, it's Saturday at CPAC, and we have two people here, both of them equipped with buttons, who are on student passes. What are your names, sir? First names?
Dustin.
And Charles.
Dustin and Charles. Where are you from?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and both of you. Are you here with a group? I noticed there was a group of you. Did you all come together?
The University of Whitewater College Republicans.
University of Whitewater College Republicans. So right now, already you are part of an oppressed minority, a college Republican on campus, and although Wisconsin has been trending a little bit differently, I imagine the colleges are still rather blue.
Well, UW Whitewater is one of the only colleges in the state that is split 50-50 between conservatives and liberals.
Well, that is...
It's encouraging.
Hold on one second. An old friend just came by. I have to hand her my new card. I will talk to you as soon as this interview is done.
I'm going to go see Paul.
I will not go anywhere. She was very nice person. But anyways, I'm digressing. So it's a 50-50 split. That must be unique among colleges. Now, if it's because it's a 50-50 split, do you guys get along with the liberals on campus better because it's more evenly, or is it more polarized?
It's more polarized. It's definitely more polarized, especially in the student government, which we're both part of. It's very, very political, split down all political lines on almost all.
Except when the Packers play and you're both cheering on the same side, obviously.
Yeah, except for the Packers.
Or when your football team is playing, I imagine.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll tell you a very brief story before I get back to the interview. The first year I was doing reporting was only 2010. And there was the Scott Brown election, and there were two competing groups in Boston. One was shouting Brown sucks, and one was shouting Coakley sucks, and somebody screamed Yankees suck. And then both sides briefly chanted the same thing.
Yeah.
Because but Patriots were still big, but they were not as huge at the time. So that was one thing people in Boston could agree on. But I digress again. I'm robbing you of valuable interview time. So what day did you get to CPAC?
We got here on Wednesday.
Wednesday. So you've been here right from the start. What have been the highlights for you?
Well, for me, it was Steve Bannon and Reince Priebus, because Reince Priebus graduated from our university.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, that must have been a big deal for you.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
And then for me, it would be seeing President Trump as president, because I've seen him as a candidate when there were 16. I've seen him when he was the nominee, and I've seen him as president-elect. So this is my fourth or fifth time seeing him as, well, just as Donald Trump, but the first is seeing him as president.
Yeah, a lot of liberal heads were blowing up during that speech, and I know because I was in the media section over there. Now I'm going to ask you both actually, what are you planning on seeing today? Was there someone special you wanted to see today?
We just came here again to go around the exhibition, shop a little bit, and I know Sheriff Clark is coming up. And then there was the Rust Belt talk this morning that we had wanted to go see, but we just missed it because the schedule's kind of screwed up.
Yeah, I was up till 5 in the morning doing interviews, so I lost most of the morning between sleep and uploading interviews and so forth. So now I'm going to ask you both the 4 questions I've asked everybody here at CPAC, because I'm gathering a particular set of data. I was a Ted Cruz guy in the primaries. Who was your guy in the primaries?
At first it was Bernie Sanders.
So you were a Sanders guy. And you were
Trump.
So you were Trump from the start.
Yes.
You were Sanders. Okay, because we gotta have some fun with this. Now, why were you Trump from the start? What did you see that neither of us did?
Now, before Trump had announced, I was Scott Walker. Scott Walker is my governor of my state.
Oh yeah.
Very much.
Plus, he fought the good fight.
Yeah, he's a home guy. But he didn't have a whole lot of energy, and I didn't see a lot of excitement around any of the other people within the field of 17. And so when Donald Trump came out, he made it, I guess, a show, and he made the excitement. He created media buzz around it. So it was an actual Republican that was drawing attention to him, and he could actually make the media narrative instead of follow it.
Now, you were a Sanders guy, so Cripes, the Trump campaign would love to talk to you. What was it about Bernie Sanders that had attracted you?
He wanted to shake up the establishment. Most of the established Democrats didn't want him to be the nominee. It was pretty clear that Hillary Clinton was going to get the nomination from the start, but yet he persisted, and I find that very admirable.
Now, did you end up voting Trump in the general election?
Yes, I did.
Now, at what point did you switch over? Did you go straight from Sanders to Trump? Did you dally with Hillary? Did you dally with someone else?
I dallied with Rand Paul, and then when he didn't get the nomination, I went to John Kasich, because he's from the Midwest. And then after Hillary got the nomination, I went directly back to Trump.
So you started with Bernie, considered Rand Paul and John Kasich, and when did you decide that you had to? When did you decide to drop Bernie? Was it when you did you think
it was the night of the Democratic National Convention.
I take it you did not like what you saw there.
No, absolutely not.
And so when he did not, because I think that frankly, I think he was stiffed in a couple of ways, and I frankly think if he had been nominated, it might be President Sanders today. It would have been a hell of a fight.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Donald Trump would have had a much more difficult fight. When he came to Wisconsin twice, I was at both of his rallies. The first one in Madison and the second one in Milwaukee, and both had lines miles long.
All right, now, and I'm going to ask you an extra question because you will have a perspective that most of the people here do not. And since I've got you, I want to get that perspective. Among fellow Sanders voters, were they, in your mind, were they, you know, I'm going to go to, what percentage was I'm going to go to Hillary, or I'm going to go to Trump, or I'm going to stay home? What was the, what was the feeling?
Where I'm going to stay home. A lot of people said it was childish not to vote for Hillary, but there were a lot of people that voted for Sanders that just could not stand Hillary Clinton. They didn't want the establishment candidate anymore, and it's just why I went to Donald Trump.
There was that debate among the Republicans on Trump. I've actually talked to quite a few people here at CPAC who, in the end, did not vote for Trump, voted for either McMullen or Gary Johnson. There was one gentleman, a longtime Republican, who wrote in another candidate who he did not want to name. But that's a very good perspective. Now, Mr. Trump has been president for about 35 days or so. What is it? 36 days. What do you think of what he's done so far? I will ask you first because we've been focusing on Dustin, and I don't want to ignore you.
Honestly, I think it's been great so far. He's trying to follow up on everything that he's promised on the campaign trail, what he was put into office to do. He's done stuff like Neil Gorsuch. She started talks on tax stuff. He started talks on Obamacare. And it's kind of funny to see everyone just flip out about it because, like, oh my God, we never expected him to do any of this, or why is he doing this? But if you look back at all of his campaign rallies, all of his speeches, and all the platforms he set out, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do, how he's going to do it.
And what do you think so far?
Well, he's definitely following through on his campaign promises. I voted for him, and I hoped he would do what he promised. Just because I don't necessarily agree with all of them doesn't mean that he's doing a bad job.
Well, so many people seem shocked, especially among the media, that he's doing what he said he's doing, which says, what does that say about politicians, that the idea that he's doing what he promised is so shocking to people?
It means they lie to get elected. That's what it is.
Okay.
Well, and I'm a member of the student media. I'm a reporter at my college newspaper, and I've been writing on this since the beginning. And he's done exactly what he said, which is really interesting because a lot of people just expected him to ignore it.
They just couldn't believe it. And okay, final question: if there is one thing that President Trump could accomplish during his term, whether it's 4 years or 8 years, what's the one thing you want to see him do?
Unity in the Republican Party. It's not necessarily a policy, but there's a lot of rifts, and I think the Democratic Party right now is rift right down the middle. And if Donald Trump can reunite the Republican Party, I think that will do a lot of good for the country. And
I think among the CPAC people, he's done a fairly good job. And yourself, what is the one issue, what's the one thing you want to see Donald Trump get done?
I'd say, along with unifying the party, build up the party more cohesively. We have a lot of different sections that'll work together on certain big-ticket issues, but if we could have all those sections work together in midterm elections and general elections and more local elections and different hot-button issues, or just even local issues like different taxes, levies, different referendums, all that, I think that would be really beneficial.
All right, now I think that those were interesting answers because I've interviewed a lot of people, maybe it's because I'm just tired, but I don't recall many people having a political goal rather than I want jobs, I want the wall, I want Obamacare gone or something. Your answers were both political, which I think was interesting. Well, boys, thank you so much for your time. I know I've held you up a bit because of the various interruptions. You have a great rest of the CPAC.
You too.
Thank you.